Hello, you wonderful heathens! We miss you! Oh, Daddy loves you! It is I, Thomas Johnson.
And I'm Jeff Key.
And we're the Godless Left. And we got a lot to kind of break down for you. Just all that good shit. You see, with the Republican Party finally getting their champion of the fucking
Speaker of the House. The last time it took this long was 100 years ago. 1923.
But your goddamn Tia, it didn't turn into a big old schoolyard bitch fight. Which it did last night. After 15 fucking tries. Yesterday alone. Not to mention the 3 previous days on top of that. They finally got their fucking grand wizard, I guess you could say. But the interesting thing is the fact that how the Republicans were constantly fighting with each other. This time not even focusing on the Democrats. They're focusing on each other. Infighting like a bunch of bitches in a bag. Okay? And it escalated at one point when Kevin McCarthy goes up to Matt Gaetz, who's the one last holdout of the whole ordeal, and they had a heated exchange of words. And during that situation, Mr. Alabama representative himself of the Republican Party decides, okay, fuck the words, let me get that pencil neck fucking geek.
Yeah.
Not only did they yank him back, but they fish hooked him like that and yanked his ass out the chamber to avoid a physical altercation. Which I'm not gonna lie, that representative from Alabama has some weight and girth on that motherfucker Gates and stuff like that. He will fucking tear his ass up. And, quite honestly, don't get me wrong, but details. Don't worry, but quite honestly, I know he'll fucking eat his ass up. And quite frankly, I wish someone would tear his ass up because Matt Gaetz is a fucking chomo. Child trafficking, sex trafficking, fucking, you name it, this guy's done it. He's been proven to be doing this shit. Mm-hmm. And what blows my mind is why the fuck is he still in office?
Yeah, and look at who elected him. It's the conservatives who have, over the last year, been saying groomer, groomer, groomer.
Attacking the LGBTQ community, stirring up shit to where you have all these nutcases shooting up nightclubs, shooting up power grids. Mm-hmm. Which, in fact, not too long ago, in Tacoma, Washington, where my brother and my niece and nephew and their kids are,
right,
they had a shooting at the power grid in their community. Okay? But their excuse was, because they actually caught the fuckers, oh, we thought we'll just do it so we can be able to rob some places. Oh, bullshit. I mean, yeah, but you're fucking retarded.
I can't believe it. There's a lot of dumb people out there.
But with all this fucking talk about groomers and all this bullshit and scary stories. It comes
from the party that keeps electing pedophiles to office. It's just something to think about.
And they do not taste the rainbow, my friend. Okay? Their flavor is communion wafers and fucking wine, or malt liquor and barbecue. Okay?
No, all that sounds fine, but Matt Walsh thinks we should impregnate a 16-year-old and then marry her.
Which,
that's great.
The same motherfucker suggested that something should be done about the children's hospital in Boston.
Yes.
Which led to bomb threats and lives being threatened of doctors and medical medical staff.
This is what happens. The right, whatever they accuse somebody else of, they're probably guilty of. Almost certainly.
But that leads into this. The state of Oklahoma, which we graciously are stuck here. Mm-hmm. trying to pass legislation where it'll make it illegal to provide trans healthcare, trans therapy, trans anything for their own physical, mental well-being, any kind of healthcare to provide for the trans community.
Until they're 26.
Exactly. Between the ages of 18 to 25, if you caught treating said individuals, the person that's providing the healthcare can be charged with a federal crime.
So let's look at this. This is 8 years after you're officially declared an adult. It is 5 years after you're officially allowed to drink and smoke.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 year after you're said to have a fully developed brain. Why are they dragging it out so long, do you think?
They made it clear. Okay, straight out. They just don't want that shit, period. They don't want LGBTQ anything in our state, in Florida.
And I'm willing to bet that if they allow it at all, they want to know who it is that's transgender. Transgender people are concerned about passing.
Mm-hmm.
Laws like this will make that much more difficult. And it's intentional to do that, I think.
And it will lead to more deaths in the community. Because if they're not getting the proper health care, if they're not seeking acceptance, if they're not getting the therapy and the counseling that they need to help with their transition, to help feel comfortable with themselves, let alone within the community they're in, it could lead to damaging mental health issues that could possibly end in suicide. That's been proven statistically.
If you look at parents who eventually became self-affirming for their children, but may at first have been hesitant towards doing so, what often appears is that their kids depressed because they're not able to express themselves. Their kids sad, perhaps suicidal, and the parents are resistant to accepting that their kid is transgender. Once these parents do, well, the kids are like, it's like night and day, man.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is this, too. In our country, there's been a long history of oppression towards anyone that's not of the mainstream or whatever. Like, LGBTQ community has been fucking demonized by the church, and demonized by conservatives for generations and decades. Same with people of minority or ethnic background stuff. Even though their ancestors came over here, whether it be on questionable terms, I'm putting it lightly there, everyone knows what I mean, so I don't have to paint that picture. But, again, when people that are not of the mainstream, the extreme right, extreme white, extreme, all that shit, all that stupid shit, if they don't go on their terms, then they're an enemy to what they have going on for themselves. So, that's a given. We discussed that numerous times. But, what saddens me is the fact that we have to continuously go through this over and over again. People are getting killed. People are getting terrorized. People are getting threats. Okay? It's not just the fucking clubs anymore. It's not just individuals. It's the whole community. And it's still, I mean, this shit goes on continuously. Even though this stuff is being out in the open, forth-running in the media and stuff to a certain extent, depending on which media you're watching. There's also stuff attacking minority groups.
Yeah.
You know, like for example, recently, which I discussed a minute ago, in California, business that helps immigrants, mainly Hispanic immigrants, try to handle their taxes, try to get them legal and situated and all that, was firebombed, or try to get these two racist dipshits thought they would be smart and clever to go up to this business and try to pour gasoline or whatever onto the building and try to light it on fire.
They ended up lighting themselves on fire.
It was hysterical. This dumb motherfucker number one, which is dumb white motherfucker number one, leaned down, knee in the fucking gasoline, trying to light the fire. Then it blew up in his face. His friend, white dumb motherfucker number two, stumbles and falls into the fire.
And you know what? These guys, burning themselves, left their cell phones at the scene of their accident.
More like their fuck up. And you know
So,
what's even better about this? The authorities now has possession of their cell phones. They have I forgot what they're called. The doorbell cameras, those things, the security cameras. They have in plain sight these two motherfuckers approaching the business. Ring security camera. Thank you, my son. They caught them coming up to the business, setting it on fire, setting their asses on fire, and running like the Human Torch on PCP into the night.
Was it a gallon of PCP? Was it a gallon of PCP?
No, they. I don't know, but
It was probably a gallon of PCP.
So I'm sure soon after they retrieve them phones and stuff like that, they'll probably match the phones up to hospital records for second and third degree burns of two dumb white idiots in tracksuits.
Instant karma bigot.
I guarantee you, Mario and Luigi never had fuck-ups like this, okay? But, again, this goes back to what I just brought up, okay? Yeah. Now, mind you, people, we're shooting from the hip today because we didn't have time to whip everything together. But we're getting shit from what we see on the news recently, and there's a lot to kind of divulge. So we're just relaying our thoughts and opinions and maybe some suggestions on how to go about with all this.
Here's the thing, right, about that bill. That bill in our lovely state. It is not passed yet. It is merely proposed, which means we can't go to the Capitol. We can write our congressmen, our senators. Mm-hmm. We can raise hell about this if we really care, and at least let them know that we are opposed to it.
Our issue with our own politicians in our state, they're cowards. They're dipshits. They hide. Like, for example, when a group of family members and supporters of a certain individual that was on death row for a crime he didn't really fully was a part of.
Yeah.
I mean, he admitted he was giving them a ride.
Right.
After the fact.
Yeah.
But since, again...
He was a driver. He was a getaway.
He didn't know he was a driver.
Right.
He was a getaway. But the point is...
Sometimes you don't.
Association. Crime by association. Right. And he got, what he got. Governor Stitt, or Governor Shit, and the politicians there kept dodging this family. Mm-hmm. Especially with the attorneys that is bringing new evidence up over this.
Yeah.
And they camped out in front of Governor Shit's office until finally he caved in at the last minute and did some minor tweaking. He's no longer on death row, but he's serving life. That is the only exception that they did, but the point is this. I'm bringing this up for an example. If they're passing such bigoted legislation in the state Congress, or trying to, simply just writing these politicians your thoughts and opinions on that is not going to get shit done, because they're just going to throw it out. Yeah. They don't care. They got their mind set already. These, you gotta realize, Oklahoma is mostly right-wing conservatives in the most extreme way. The politicians think that way. A lot of these guys, when they ran for their campaign this past go-around, all said the same thing. I'm a proud Trump supporter. Right.
Now, I'll tell you this. Back in 2016, they were wanting to pass a trans bathroom bill. Now, as of last year, unfortunately, they actually did. But in 2016, I was part of a protest. We went to the Capitol. And at least for that fucking day, they did not pass that bill.
They waited till they're gone.
They passed it 6 years later. Now, unfortunately, it still got passed, but the point is it was 6 years that it wasn't passed. So if you want to make a difference, even if it's just kicking the shit can down the road a little bit, go to the Capitol. Protest in their fucking office spaces. Listen to these motherfuckers jack each other off. Actually confront them. That's the best way to prevent, or at least kick the shit can down the road a little bit as to what these motherfuckers want to do.
And the thing is, too, I don't know if they do this or not, but in some incidences, when they're doing state senate hearings and stuff like that, you're able to sit in and go and listen.
That's what I meant by listening to them jack each other off.
The thing is,
point is, you can make a presence of yourself if you care about these things.
And if you have a big enough amount of people to back up what you're saying, it can make things happen. Like when the school teachers of the state of Oklahoma gathered in protest of their pay and the treatment of them in the schools, the funding and whatnot. They fought so hard, they finally got it after spending days upon days upon days at state capitol. Only for them, after they got it, for Governor Stitt and everyone else to yank it out from underneath them, take it back. So now they're still struggling. They're still, and here's the interesting thing: they took it back away from them. Then Governor Stitt had the nerve to turn around and try to push an agenda to where it make everyone focus on charter schools, private schools, where you have to have money to go. And so they're going to give out vouchers to these families to take their kids from public school to private school.
See, the bathroom bill that was passed last year was specifically for high school, middle school, elementary school. It was for school bathrooms in Oklahoma. Basically, telling kids that they couldn't use the bathroom of the gender that they identified with. Mm-hmm. And the penalty, if the school allowed them to do so, would be to cut the funding of that school. We are already, in Oklahoma, one of the worst educational states as far as funding or success rates go.
Right.
We have already talked about in PTA meetings as to whether we can keep our electricity on. And they are talking about if you let these kids go to the bathroom that they identify with, we'll cut the school funding, not just for that school, but
the district.
Exactly.
And the thing is, too, with these dipshits basically holding hostage the children's education and the welfare to pretty much become a totalitarian, I'm probably totalitarian, state.
Yeah.
Because they want it to be nice, white, conservative Christian extremists to the right, please. And again, everyone's not that way. Everyone has their own personality, their own beliefs, so that. More power to you, believe in that. That's not our deal. Okay? But they want to scare people into thinking that. I mean, but the thing is, our state's the worst. I mean, it's one of the worst in this nation. Yeah. I mean, when it not just with education, with health care, with child care, cheap housing, affordable housing for people like me who are on disability. But yet, it gets better. Talk about the mini homes programs. It's all throughout the country. Yeah. Something like that. Oklahoma City finally has a mini home program for the homeless. Okay?
Yeah.
They get them set up. They help them find work. They only have to pay $100 a month for rent.
Yeah.
Help them get back there on their feet.
Yes.
Here's the kicker. Finally, after me spending 3 to 4 years fighting, putting shit in the ear of the council people, the mayor, everyone, they're finally bringing a mini homes program here in my neighborhood. Here's the bummer about it. The fuckers are going to try to get to charge the homeless people $300 to $400 a month for rent.
At that point, you might as well be renting an apartment. It's not that much more, honestly.
I know, but they're expecting them to find work. Okay, the most accessible work you would find is minimum wage, low income jobs. And half the time when they hire people minimum wage, it's always part-time. So they're not going to have the money to cover that, let alone provide substance for them to get through it. Whether it be toiletries, medicine, food, and all that stuff.
And the whole reason, right, that they rent so cheap, like just $100 or less,
so they can be able to gather up money and get themselves built up where they can go out into the world and get them a better home.
If they're charging them $300 and $400 starting with, are they going to be able to do that?
I actually got the email from the guy in charge over that whole deal.
Yeah.
I discussed with him what's going on. Give me some details.
Right.
And he messaged me back, telling me all the fucking glorious shit that they're doing. And I was like, well, hold up. Because there's the same program in Oklahoma City with the same kind of homes and housing and all that shit. And quite honestly, they're charging only $100 a month. And the reason why I know this, because it was shared on CBS NBC News, or CBS Evening News. And I'm like, dude.
Here's the thing, right? You can charge them nothing and actually still be saving the state money just because of how much it costs and how much we're spending on putting these people in jail for a night.
Right. I'm trying to find the email here real quick, and I'll read what this... It just fucking angers me, because we know people that are homeless. Okay? Technically speaking...
I can't go anywhere in the town without seeing people that are homeless.
I know. Anywhere you go, if there's a bridge, you'll find about 6 to 8 people living under it.
Yep.
You go by a gas station by the side of the highway, there's people there trying to,
Now, one of my favorite comedians, which not enough people know about, is George Carlin. Carlin said that golf courses were evil and faggoty. And his idea was to take this land, this big expanse of fucking land that rich fuckers used to hit a tiny little ball, and set up houses. Set up places where homeless people could live. Instead of having rich little assholes put around a fucking ball. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The land's there. It's not being used for anything productive, anything good for our society. Let's get rid of the golf courses. Let's get rid of the rich assholes. Give the land to the homeless people.
I agree with that. I've always said that, but, Lord, where the fuck is this guy at?
Now, the other thing, and this is a little off the topic of homeless people, a little more on the topic of transgender people.
Ah, here it is. Let me
You got it? Good.
Yeah, I got it.
I lost
Okay.
my train of thought.
So, real quick before we move on to what we're going to be talking about next, this is the email that I got from the gentleman or gentlewoman, his name is Brad Johnson.
Their name.
His name is Brad Johnson. The guy's treasurer. And I sent him an email stating, for years I've been suggesting to the community that this very thing, even to the mayor and the city representatives, to better the homeless rather than attack them or just wanting to survive. I do want to ask, how much are these people needing to pay a month? Because in Oklahoma City, they are doing the same thing and only having the people pay $100 or less a month. Been helping people I know who are homeless and some that were able to get on And so his response was, Thomas, all good questions. Our residents will pay $350 a month, bills paid. That is at least a plus, but still, that's still a good chunk.
Yeah.
They will be expected to obey civil law and be good neighbors. Of course, is fucking, and cannot have illegal drugs on the property or firearms. Our community will be gated, monitored. They will provide mental and physical health screening, substance abuse help, such as celebrate recovery in the church.
Always a church.
Always a church.
Yep.
And this mall has worked in Springfield and being developed in 11 other cities, including Tulsa. I hope to be the biggest and best in what we do. Would love to learn more about you and what you do. Now, if you'd like to help in some way, I respond, $350 a month? Oklahoma City is only charging $100 a month. And they had a special on CBS Evening News going in detail over that. And I went on to, explain myself. The point is, sorry, looks like I'm playing with myself there. The point is, these motherfuckers are coming in from out of state, trying to take advantage of a situation.
Yeah.
Just like with a lot of the realtors is buying up these dive houses, fix them up in these low-income communities, and then try to flip them for a profit. Price gouging, the price for the houses, price for rent. So people won't have the opportunity to get off the streets, which creates more homeless. But I digress. And back to transgender.
Well...
You can go with this, or you can go with that. You can go with this, this is where it's at. Alright.
Chaya Right Chick, if I'm saying that right,
Excuse me.
also known as Libs of TikTok, was on fucking Tucker Carlson a few weeks ago, talking about helping parents stop their kids from being trans.
You told me about that. Oh my goodness.
You can't stop your kids from being trans. any more than you can stop them from being gay, bi, lesbian, straight, cis. People are what they fucking are.
Well, let me break it down.
Go ahead. Here's the story that I heard about on the 5-hour plus video by TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist, today while I was on my paper route.
Alright, paper boy. Sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. There was a woman who, when she found out her daughter might identify more as a son, decided to stop that child from having any access to their friends, their interests, any access to the internet at all, took away their phone. And then, on the way to school, they made sure every day that they were listening to programs dealing with transgender issues. And I'm willing to bet how those people dealt with those issues. What do you think?
More like medieval therapy is like...
So basically, this is one attempt by a parent to stop their kid from being trans. All it included was taking away every bit of self-autonomy the person had, cutting off their social network entirely, and brainwashing them with fun little radio programs on the way to school.
In other words, she's basically got on Fox News and ordered the conversion camp home playset.
Yeah.
Okay? She's like, well, you know what? It worked for those people. I just love torturing the LGBTQ. And it's so decorative when I have the barbed wire fences and the shock collars. It's so fashionable. I got to get me one. So, the point is this, okay? This shit doesn't work. And in fact, it drives them farther away from their parents when they pull shit like that, or even drive their kids to even kill themselves or hurt themselves. It's not a really ideal thing to do. Think about it as this.
Basically, it's conversion therapy, and we can tell how well it's worked with the LGB part of the LGBT. It hasn't worked very well with gay people. I don't know why it's going to work better with transgender people, personally.
To quote Anton LaVey, we are all animals. Sometimes we are worse, sometimes we're better. I know I'm just kind of generalizing what he said, but the point is this. We are who we are. I know I'll probably get flack for bringing him up as an example, but despite him being who he is a very intelligent man, and he makes a lot of sense because in the animal kingdom, we all have the same primary urges that animals do. Okay? We are attracted to who we're attracted to. We know what we like.
Yep.
We know what we eat. We like red meat, we eat red meat. We want to eat a salad, we'll eat a fucking salad. If we're into guys...
If you want to eat dick or pussy, you'll eat dick or pussy.
And if you feel more aligned with one group or another, that is deep in you.
Yep. And there's no getting it out.
So
just embrace it.
So there's no people grooming someone to be something that they naturally are. Okay? The real true grooming is the child predators and the sex offenders that lurk amongst the majority in crowd or the straight community. Because a lot of known offenders are straight. It's been proven.
And you know what? Luckily, some dipshit Democrat won the position. But there was a politician that was running for some kind of office in Alabama a few years ago by the name of Roy Moore. Rory Moore is a known pedophile, sex pest towards children. And the Republicans, oh, they wind up to vote for that motherfucker. So every time they talk about groomer, just remember that.
And the thing about it is, he has shit coming out of the woodwork going back over 30 years of people coming forward saying that when I was this young and he is this old, he did A, B, and C to me. And
oh, you want to talk about somebody else who likes to use the word groomer? Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG herself, right?
The nutso from Georgia.
Yeah.
It's not the only kind of nuts she got in her, too.
She's been talking about sex toys in Walmart, right? And how that's grooming children.
Okay, I gotta get on this.
Okay.
This is coming from a woman that's getting divorced by her husband over 10 plus years because she can't keep her legs closed when she goes on little trips outward. She even has, there's photos of her, personal trainer, okay, dressed up as cosplay as Zangief from Street Fighter, okay? Now, for those of you who are not very game savvy or nerdy like myself and my friend here, Zangief is a fictional character from the Street Fighter video games who is a Soviet-Russian pro wrestler wearing red Speedo, Chia Pet chest hair, Chia Pet leg hair, and all these scars all over him, and a fucking mohawk, and a fucking, like, ooh, curly bear. Just fucking gay, manly, fucking...
Yeah, the Russian bear,
yeah. So, he's posing in a gym locker room as a gift, shooting pictures, posing for Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is one of the many sugar daddies she has hopping from dick to dick, too. Okay? And she's bitching about them selling sex toys at CVS and Target. I wonder why she's pointing out. It's like, well, shit, I'm going into this town soon. I left my toys at home. I got stopped by CVS. Okay, give me 3 anal plugs, give me 2 cock rings, and give me a pack of Trojans. Okay, again, she talks about grooming, yet she's grooming a lot of fucking parts.
Well,
but I digress.
Here's what I wanted to talk about, right? There was a bill that government was trying to pass about children who are being interviewed by the FBI about sexual assault, rape, molestation, and just trying to get them to soften their language, soften their interrogation a little bit, because these are kids that have obviously been through something
very traumatic.
You know who voted against that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Exactly. She cares so much about protecting kids, unless they're kids that have actually been groomed. Unless they're kids that have actually been sexually assaulted, raped, or molested. Then,
I bet you she's bumping that Meatloaf song. I will do anything for love, but I won't do that. No, I won't do that. This woman is a thunder cunt deluxe. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a harsh word to say. I know a lot of people's... But if anyone deserves the medal of Thunder Cunt of the Year, Marjorie Taylor Greene takes it by far, okay? I mean, you know what? I will tweet that to her. I'm going to kind of come up with like a Thunder Cunt of the Year award, get like a fucking mock-up picture of a fucking trophy with some blown out pussy with it. Thunder Cunt of the Year! I mean, these people are just spitting out this random fucking shit, attacking minority groups of all shapes and sizes, of all sexualities and whatnot, because, again, like we said previously before, their base is falling apart. the whole conservative idealism that they grew up on, built their power base on, is falling apart. So what they got to do to keep a stranglehold on it, they got to put the fear of God into all of you. And that's all that they're fucking trying to do. And I'm sorry if Matt Gaetz has got busted for dealing some kids over state lines. Yep. Just give her some fucking X, man. Just pass her shit, wherever. I mean, fuck. You got Matt Gaetz smuggling kids over state lines so you can diddle them. Yeah, give them a fucking gift card to Chuck E. Cheese and send them back home.
You got the other Matt, Walsh, talking about knocking up 16-year-old girls and marrying them.
You have Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about how, she's so appalled about them selling sex toys in the pharmacy when she's probably the biggest customer, when she's going out fucking all the little Tom, Dick, and Harrys that she meets up with when she's on the go. No wonder she's getting divorced. But then you also have just a slew. I mean, again, like I said, the Alabama.
You also got Tucker Carlson talking about how young boys should be happy that their teacher's coming on to them.
And what way are you referring to by coming onto them, Tucker Carlson? I would like to know. I mean, you personally, it's like, well, if it was me, I wouldn't mind them coming on. And for what context? Would it be like, I'm sorry, Mr. Professor, what can I do to get an A? Or is it hot for teacher Van Halen deal? Either way it goes, it's still fucked up in a way.
He was talking more of the Van Halen route, though.
I mean,
young boy, older female teacher. Which a lot of people seem to think is okay, because
if it's a chick hitting on a young boy, hey, fuck her right, way to go. But if it's a guy hitting on a younger chick, it's like, how dare he? There's a fucking, no.
Yeah.
No. No! Both are bad. Yeah. Okay? I'm a Satanist. I'm a self-professed Satanist. I've never been shy about it one bit. But we strongly believe in not harming children or animals, period. Period. The whole concept of hot for teachers, still harming and grooming kids. That is a no-no. That is, yes, 9-no. And it's, again, this has always been more of a straight thing than a gay thing.
Yeah.
Because, guarantee goddamn to you, once there's a gay teacher, okay, who's working at the school and all that stuff, they keep that shit to themselves. They focus on their work. They don't give a shit other than making sure the kids get the education they need. It's been proven. Okay? But here in Oklahoma, we have straight teachers like in Sapulpa who got caught doing some fucking obscure shit, and she got caught with possession of meth in her classroom. But yet, they want to demonize the gay community when it's the straight ones that are fucking up. I don't know. I mean, we just need to pray. I mean, we pray for you. And just, you know what? I'm sick and tired of hearing this. Okay, people.
Well, you know when you didn't hear anything about prayers? After Club Q was shot up.
Yeah.
Didn't hear a fucking word about prayers.
No, you heard praises in another sense. Well, they should have got more of them. I was like, what the fuck? And again, like I said previously, the shooter's dad, ex-porn star, oh, thank God this is not gay. Again, did gay porn.
And other than that, I could barely understand the motherfucker.
Because he's gacking off of meth. No wonder he was a former porn star. He's so fucking... That's not your lines. Stick the fucking cock in him already. Give his $200 and his fucking ounce. Get him the fuck out of here. You know? But, okay, the thing is this. We're going to be in Florida, Colorado, or any other place that's been assaulted. Even in New England, when a few years back before shit got really crazy, there was an incident where a individual went into a gay nightclub in New England, I don't remember which state, armed with a pistol and a hatchet. And he was a known white supremacist. Mm-hmm. And he went in there and he shot several people and he attacked them with a hatchet. I don't remember anyone died, but still, that's a fucking scary thing. You go in there, you're having yourself a good time, all of a sudden someone's swinging a fucking hatchet at you, and if you're running away, they're popping shots off at you. Now, he got caught, he's arrested, he's in prison now, he's doing his time, and I hope they do a number on his ass in prison, more ways than one.
Talking about people you'd love to see have a number done on them in prison. You have any thoughts about Tate?
Yes, let me discuss it. We had this conversation a minute ago. This motherfucker decides, you know, even though he's scamming a bunch of people with his fucking hustler school, whatever bullshit, he decides to take his millionaire ass to Romania and to sex traffic a lot of these women. Force them, basically being an international pimp and rapist and abuser and whatnot. You talk about grooming.
Just general all-around piece of shit.
But yet, he openly brags about this on his website, which is now being used as evidence against him.
Yep.
But here's the kicker, people. For those of you who don't know, the real Dracula is from Romania. Okay? He is a national hero to these people. History lesson for you. Vlad Tepes, Vlad Dracula, son of the dragon, son of the devil. Vlad the Impaler. Keyword, Impaler. Saved Romania from being invaded and taken over by the Turkish army after he was abducted as a boy, enslaved, and tortured for years until he was old enough to be a man. He snuck back into Romania with the help of the peasants and the King of Hungary's assistants and fought back against the Turkish, the Ottoman Empire, because they were enslaving boys and girls, force them into enslavement, indoctrinating them in their religion, force them to be soldiers for their army or sex slaves for the Sultan, on top of them being forced to pay out gold that they cannot afford.
Yeah.
What did Vlad do? He put the fear of God into him is what the fuck he did. He impaled all the traitors of his country of noble stature and all the soldiers and generals of his enemy's army and layered the borders of his country with their bloody bodies. He used psychological warfare, and he was, in medieval times, in the Dark Ages, was a precursor to biological warfare, sending people with the Black Death infected in their bodies, covered in makeup and costumes, to deliver messages to enemy camps. This guy beat off, I will not use that term, he fought off the Ottoman Empire 20-1 and lasted for several years, okay? These people hold him with pride. Now you have this guy who is a foreigner coming into their country and abducting and taking advantage and torturing and raping their own local women against their will and making money off of them when they're not getting any. That's going to set them off like a wildfire, because that will bring you back to the stories of what the Turkish Ottoman Empire did to their ancestors hundreds of years ago. They're not going to tolerate this shit. And trust me, once he gets tried and sentenced in a Romanian prison, they're going to give him a very warm homecoming into their own prisons and show them what Romanians do with tyrants from another country. Because if Vlad Tepes would sit there and watch them slide down on a wooden stake going up their ass and out their shoulder as they're slowly dying, seeing him dipping his bread in the bowl of their blood and eating it, showing that you want the devil, I'm going to give you the fucking devil. And it worked. And these people were so deathly afraid of him, they thought he was the devil incarnate. But he did it to protect his people and his country at all costs, because he knew how the Turks worked, how the Ottoman Empire worked. And he used his knowledge of his country and the knowledge of how they fought and how they tortured their victims against them. So I'm sure they're going to give this little fucker a good homecoming. He probably won't survive the first night. I hope. No, wait, I hope it's a long fucking month. Just stretch it out. What would Vlad do? That's what I'd say. Just food for thought.
WWVD.
Not the venereal disease, but what would Vlad do? You know, I mean, Vlad would even go as far as when he had messengers from the Sultan come up and demand tribute or demand a response. He would ask them, take your turbans off, because you're in my home, you need to show me respect. It's like, we can't do that. Vlad, feeling disrespected, he's like, turned to his son, he's like, son, watch and learn. He ordered that their turbans would never be removed from their head by ramming metal spikes through their headpieces into their skulls, and then ordered that their corpses would be delivered straight to the Sultan. Okay, this is the country that
Andrew Tate decided to piss off.
Yeah. They have monuments, they have statues of Vlad the Impaler in their country as a national hero. They also have currency with his likeness on it.
Watch Moncho has an entire video talking about that guy's entire story.
I know. Go sit down, Bo. We'll be in there in a minute.
I never heard of that guy.
So, he basically is in a very nasty little pickle. Like his dick. Nasty and little. So, back to you.
But, how do you follow that up?
I know.
But, talking about Tate, right? He talked about, there's one video where he's talking about how he gets his top woman, his top bitch, his top
bottom
bitch, to go out and recruit for him. He doesn't recruit. He gets this woman to do it for him. Talks the other woman into coming back, just shooting one video. One video turns into multiple videos. And he does tax fraud by saying, I can only give you 3 for my 10,000 because 2 of it's got to go to taxes.
So print up fake forms for the girls to sign, just so you can throw away and pocket the money that he put out claiming it's for tax.
Yeah. He says, I'm going to split it evenly. It's far from even.
No, it's more like 80-20 at the most.
Yeah.
Okay?
What he was talking about in that video was 30-70, but close enough. I don't want to give the guy
too much credit.
Yeah, exactly.
But this guy also goes on talking about how, again, quote unquote, put out there, he's basically describing how he's grooming these girls to be his sex slaves.
And more than that, he also talks about taking their passports. Now, the thing about passports that most people should know is if you want to get out of the country, you kind of need one of those.
And not only
so
that,
by taking their passport, he makes sure that they can't go anywhere.
But not just that, he also holds back clientele information. He holds back anything and everything that can be used as resources for her to get out of his custody, get out of his grasp.
Yep.
So, and he makes it clear that as long as you hold everything over her, if you have possession of all the things that she needs, she's not going to go anywhere. She's going to be obedient, you know. And the whole time he's talking down about how dumb women is. So, guy is obviously fucking more retarded than what he claims women are, because he's plastering this all over the internet where everyone can read and see. Mm-hmm. And what he's describing is the same kind of tactics that pimps would do to sucker in girls under their control. Okay? And
it's also similar to some of the shit that Epstein and Giselle did as well.
And this kind of goes back to the early days of the adult industry when the mob had control over it. I was telling you about this.
Yeah.
Because if they could kind of convince someone to kind of come in and stuff like that. Now, mind you, I had friends in the adult industry, legitimately, not bullshit stuff, dealing with legitimate companies. And they are better off now because the mob element is no longer involved in the adult film industry.
Yeah.
It's more legitimate. It's a legitimate business now. But back in the late 60s to mid-late 70s, there was a good number of production companies that had mob ties. So they would do that. Like, for example, they go to someone comes to California or New York on a bus from out of nowhere. They're really, really good looking. These quote-unquote talent agents will go out there and say, hey, you ever thought about being a model? You ever thought about acting? Kind of suck them in with those promises.
Mm-hmm. You know?
Kind of like what dipshit did in Romania. You want to make some money? You want to do this, and that? So they go into their little office and stuff. They get suckered into this stuff. Sometimes, back in the day, they get hooked on shit.
Yep.
To kind of make them more compliant to go out and work. They sign contracts that are fucking hard to get out of, to where the managers or the agents of these agencies gets a big chunk of the profit from them, which they get a cut of that profit and it goes back to the mob, and they're left with chunk change and some dope.
Yeah.
Okay? Thankfully, by the early to mid 80s, that was kind of abolished, and they became more legitimate, especially towards the 90s. But this stuff has been a pattern from sexual predators for generations. I'm not talking about just decades, but centuries. This is shit that's been going on even back in the dark ages, the old west, whatever you want. And so, but the thing about it is, this is an example of grooming. And notice that this individual is probably on the verge of getting the shit beat out of him in a Romanian prison. Also has ties to people like Elon Musk, Matt Gates, all them motherfuckers who are, we support you. It's like, really? Why? Matt Gates, that motherfucker need to shut the fuck up, because he has no room to talk himself. He's probably saying that shit. I support you. Can you hook me up with about a couple? You know, or,
yeah, right.
Yeah, Jesus, fuck on a cracker, man. Come on.
Yeah, and they're referring to him as fucking Neo.
Oh, hell no.
He kind of referred to himself as Neo. When he got arrested, he was like talking about the Matrix and shit.
Gotta watch too much fucking movies.
Now, here's the thing, though, right? About the Matrix.
Read. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, run that.
The Matrix, at the time, they were known as the Wachowski brothers, but they've since transitioned. They're known as the Wachowski sisters. It's trans women that wrote the fucking Matrix. And this motherfucker wants to act like he's breaking the Matrix. Oh my god.
Oh, hell. Are you going for a transition yourself? Are you going to be one of the next models of your video show? I'm sure you're going to be strutting your shit in a prison cell to Ivan here real soon.
Here's hoping.
So you stupid British pig. strut your shit for daddy, you know? Oh my god.
But do you think two transgender women want their movie
Tarnished by such a piece of shit?
Just ask it.
Now, mind you, all these people that we described, Mr. Tate over here, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Gates, all them motherfuckers, these are the pride and joy of the conservative right-wing
hellscape.
And yet they're wanting to point the finger and attack the LGBTQ community
for being groomers.
They're full of shit. And actually, I mean, it's not going to stop. They're going to still go after the community. They're going to still go after the minorities like they've been doing. And again, like I've always said, we got to be vocal about this shit. We got to get out there and say our piece. Let people know that we're not going to tolerate this shit. Mind you, we're in Oklahoma. We're the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. Or Robert's fucking country.
Mm-hmm. It's right in my backyard.
Literally. And guess what? Oral Roberts is nothing but a bigot. He is a fucking drunk, lush, addicted to gambling hypocrite.
Yeah, he's not much of anything.
Well, he's dead, thankfully.
Yeah, exactly.
But his good old son is running shit still.
But I remember hearing about, if not actually literally remember, the time when he came out and said, I had a dream. I was visited by a 9,000-foot Jesus who told me that I had to raise such and such money.
Or God will take me home the following day.
God should have taken his fucking ass home. It would have been better off for all.
Yeah, but guess what? The whole multi-million-dollar goal he was hoping to get, he didn't get but a fraction of that.
Mm-hmm.
God didn't take his ass home. Shows how much of a fucking dipshit is. By the way, Oral Roberts is the one that kind of taught and groomed Kenneth Copeland to become who he is. If it wasn't for Oral Roberts, we wouldn't have Kenneth Copeland. So,
you mean the guy who laughs like a Joker?
The guy that looks like a fucking rejected Batman villain.
Yeah, but the guy laughed like fucking Joker when Trump was not reelected.
Yeah, that was fucking hysterical. But
right? When Trump lost, this guy laughed like he was a fucking Joker. He laughed like he was a crazy person.
I was hoping to see his head finally
fucking
explode on television. You know, he just had an aneurysm and his like scanners, his head just.
Well, that probably would have made me laugh like he was laughing.
Oh, I would laugh, literally.
I would have laughed my ass off.
Well, God called him home.
Yeah, I guess he did, after all. Good for him. At least he won't be flying in a tube full of demons anymore. You remember that?
Yeah. No. But you see, it's a figurative speech because it's talking about all the fucked up shit in his head. I swear you look into his fucking head, you probably see the same fucked up shit you look into see Cartman's head. South Park.
Right.
Like, fucking la 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 la. Fucking hellfire, torture, murder, all that shit. With fucking lullaby singing in the background. That's Kenneth Copeland's brain right there. But yet, that's the word of Jesus.
For anybody who doesn't know, the tube full of demons thing was the thing he actually said. He said it about flying in first class.
In his private
in
jets.
an actual airport airplane. He didn't want to be on a tube full of demons. That's why he needed his own private airplane.
And the thing about it is...
who is he referring to as demons? The people who pay him money?
Mm-hmm.
The people who fund his fucking career?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he said. Because here's the deal. Yes, Brian.
I'm watching a Watch Mojo video
Okay, Bubba, we're filming. We'll be in there in a minute.
Feels like kickbox.
We know, Brian. My son's now looking up shit that we're talking about now, so it's fine. But the deal is this. In the United States, a church can be able to be acquired certain funds to accommodate to their living, tax benefits, tax breaks, and all that stuff.
Yep.
Well, Kenneth Copeland is one of many religious nutcases who exploits that for his benefit. Thus, I need proper transportation. Well, through the tax code and all that stuff, they provide assistance with that and tax breaks and whatnot. That's like if you need like a church van or if you need a proper vehicle to go from one congregation to another. It's fine. Not multi-billion-dollar jetliners or these fucking outrageous fucking sports cars. Okay? I mean, if Jesus wasn't alive and exists and stuff like that, he'll be happy with a fucking mule and a cart, let alone a fucking sports car or whatnot. But then he lives in a extravagant mansion that's bigger than 3 football stadiums combined off the people of his congregation's dollar, not paying 1 cent.
Nope.
But with the Johnson Amendment, he should be paid out of pocket because the motherfucker's been using his platform for political purposes. And you can turn the people like that in to the IRS with providing proof that he's doing that. And like I said before in previous videos, I'm not going to get too much into it, but by doing so, if he gets called out on that shit, then he's going to have to pay out of pocket for all those lavish things. And watch how fast all that money goes out.
And in this week in religious news, one of the popes died.
Yes, the Nazi Pope has finally been vanquished.
Now, not only was he a Nazi pope, but he played a little game of a change, right? If a priest or a bishop, cardinal, whatever, was involved with child pedophilia, fucking minors, he just switched them to another town and let them keep going.
That's on the Pope Benedict's watch. Okay? The same guy that was groomed by the Nazi Party as a youngster all the way up to his more matured age before the Nazis fell. Okay? Thus the term the Nazi Pope. He didn't live that down nor dismiss it. He's like, it happened, Now let's do something with these priests, okay? I know you're bored with that flavor in that town, so we're gonna move you over to here. They have some spicy people over there, so you can just have some fun over there. You move down here, you'll have a wonderful time. Sex on the beach. Don't worry about it. But yeah, Pope Benedict. Not only did he have health issues, but kind of halfway into his ordeal, he bailed. Okay?
Yep.
Because, not just because of his health issues, because of backlash over the whole concept of, really? We're having these issues in the church, and you just want to kind of do a switcheroo? That shit's not going to work. And around this time, not too long after, the Baptist community came out with a revelation that there's been decades of sexual abuse towards minors and others within the church. But yet you guys still want to go attack the LGBTQ community, talking about their groomers. Yeah, well, the track record kind of spills it out for themselves, okay? I mean,
as to who the real groomers are.
Yeah. So, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay? But, in closing, I want to bring up, once again, the new Oklahoma legislation attempt to attack the rights of the transgender who are old enough to make the decisions for themselves on what kind of health care do they properly need. Kind of mimics the whole overturning of Roe versus Wade in a sense, because it's up to the doctor and the patient to decide what's appropriate for their health care, not some frigid old bastard with a Bible and a gun in his hand.
And here's the thing. Whenever these religious, Republican, conservatives use the word groomer, just ask them, who's actually doing the grooming?
Mm-hmm. And don't forget to throw
Because it's not the people they accuse of.
And believe me, don't forget to throw those little tidbits of information up about their own political party or the churches themselves, because pitting that up against the LGBTQ community, it's night and day. Okay? Believe me. And besides, another thing. People about my religion got a bad rap for the longest time. Mm-hmm. Just for the mere fact that...
Satanic panic.
Yeah. And even before that. And then after that. Then the second coming of the satanic panic. The point is this. There's a lot of satanic organizations and communities that do a lot of community work for the homeless, for children in schools, provide them after-school clubs where they can be able to work on their schoolwork and learn about other educational things. Not about religion. It's all separate. It's all, it has nothing to do with what they believe in or what they believe in. It's all about expanding your education. That's all they were trying to do. Providing proper feminine health care for feminine products for the females that are homeless or disenfranchised. Providing community work on the highways, cleaning up parks, you name it. They do a lot of outreach for these people. But yet they want to get demonized because, they're satanic, they're evil. No, they're not. They just know bullshit when they see it, and they call it out when they see it. And they're not going to be suckered in to the hysteria that people spit out. And a lot of other religious organizations that do not get proper equality and proper recognition are doing the same thing, but get treated the same like us because we're not Christian. So, in closing, try to reach out and try to help out. Get your voices heard, especially over this bill that they're trying to pass in Oklahoma. Okay? So I'm Thomas Johnson.
I'm Jeff Key.
We're the Godless Left. You have a wonderful weekend.